Parshas Masei talks about different travels that we traveled through. In particular, there were 42. Rashi explains this is similar to a king who had a son who was sick, and he went to different places, specialists, so to say, doctors, to get healed. For some reason, he couldn't summon them to the palace. And once on their trip home, when everyone was healthy and everything was good, they recounted all of the trips that they took. This is what happened here, this is what happened there. The same applies to our lives as well. All the travelings that we do, they're all different rungs in the ladder of our life. Imagine you go to the grocery store sometimes with your wife. You come back with the list, the $200 grocery bill, It's a long list. And you go through you say, how did it get to $200, $300? Every single thing builds up. Every single thing. Every single part of that receipt, so to say. That's like our life. Our life is like one receipt. You could cut the receipt somewhere in the life because that amount of life we're never going to get back again. It's gone. Never going to get it back again. We have different travels. You recount it. Different rungs in the ladder. Different parts of the chain. Whatever we do, any good action that we do, Alanu Leshabayach discusses, the Degel Machane Ephraim discusses, any action that we do is recorded. And we will be repaid for it, mida k'neged mida, measure for measure, whatever we do. Good deed, bad deed will get recorded. It's part of our life. That's why we have to be careful to be involved with good, not bad. I'd like to tie in a idea that we discussed in Sefer Yeshua, Perek Vav, Pasuk Daled, discussed at length. The Jews were commanded to surround the walls of Yericho many times. In particular, Hashem commanded the Jewish people over there to circle around the city with 7 Kohanim who would have 7 shofars, and on the 7th day they would circle around it 7 times. They would blow the shofar. There's a lot of sevens over here. And there's a lot of discussion on the sevens that we discussed over there when we learned Sefer Yeshua. What does this have to do with Parshas Masei? With the travels? So Ways has a little bit of length over here. And he ends up saying that some explain that these 7 hakafos, circlings that they did around the walls of Yericho, which is a lot of depth behind why they needed to do this, to break down this negative spiritual forces, correspond to the 70 years of a person's life. We say in Sukkot Zimra on Shabbos, that our lifespan, the average lifespan is 70 years. Maybe now it's up a little bit more because of inflation. If he's strong, 80 years. Okay? 70 years. 70 years. Right? It's a whole discussion when to take Social Security. You want to max your benefits, you start taking at 70. But you have to mathematically assess, is that smarter based on what is the amount of years that I'm expected to continue to live? Okay. It's another discussion, finance discussion. 70 years is a person's life. 70 divided by the 7 that we're talking about, 7 times you circle around equals 10. Comes out that a person's life could be broken down into 7 categories of 10. Ages 0 to 10, ages 10 to 20, 20 to 30, etc., all the way up. And he goes into a different idea than Mama ways, but he says something very interesting over here. These 7 times that we circle around correspond to the 7 different periods in a person's life. Number one, when a person is born. Oh, he's born. We treat him like a king, a prince, a princess. Everyone honors him. Everyone wants to see, oh, baby, baby, baby. Everyone's interested. They don't think about that they soil themselves, that they can't do anything properly themselves. Everyone wants to see a cute little baby. Everyone embraces that little baby, that infant. Hugs, kisses, etc. The second period in a person's life is when he's around the age of 2 or 3. And that age, a person is like a pig, sticking out their hand at everything, trying to eat whatever they could get their hands on, like a pig. The third stage is around 10 years old. Guy's jumping all over the place, like a goat, jumping all over. The fourth stage, 18 years old. Now the 18, 20, guy's like a horse. Gets a little haughty. He's trying to wear fancy clothing, maybe. Put on something that makes him smell better. We call it cologne in English. Right? He's maybe going to get into his hair. Whatever it is, he's just thinking about getting married. The fifth stage, he finally gets married. And now the guy's like a chamor. He's a donkey. He's carrying the load of having to work, support his wife, provide for her all of the needs that she wants. Not just physical, emotional, spiritual, etc. Everything that's required. The sixth stage, person starts having children. Guy's similar to a dog. He's trying to grab whatever he could get his hands on to take care of his children, financially and in all other ways. And then after that whole stage with the children, which tends to be one of the longer stages, around 20 years or so, give or take, then we have the final stage of life, the final trip, final travel that we do. Person becomes old. He's old. The guy's like a monkey. People of his house, they start to make fun of him. They start to get haughty over him. Even the kids, they laugh at him. This old guy, they make fun of him. Guy's old. Everything that we just said is talking about referring to people who don't learn Torah. People who learn Torah, the opposite is true. They are going to get respected the most when they're older. Like David. David, he was older. He was still called a melech. He was a king. Those are the stages of our lives. Shlomo HaMelech in Koheles says, Hevel havolim hakol hevel 7 times. Corresponding to the 7 parts of a person's life that are vanity. It's vanity. Foolishness. That's why we, on Hoshana Rabbah, we circle around 7 times. The deeper idea, 7 times. Because doing that, we could contemplate this and we will awaken ourselves to repent properly. And that's why we bring the Sefer Torah on Hoshana Rabbah to remember, learn Torah, you'll be in a better place. Stages, life stages. Travels that we had. We have to utilize whatever stage we're in life. That's my little Dvar Torah.